Welcome to a new video tutorial class courtesy of the Darrang College e-learning platform. The topic today of my class is one that is for all students actually. Though I offer this class to the first semester students of literature, but it is not confined to the first semester students only. It is relevant for all students actually. As you see, the topic of the lecture is how to read a book. Now, this how to read a book may not be there in any particular syllabus, but it is, you can say, part of the hidden curriculum. It is part of all syllabi. Every syllabus intends to encourage reading among the students. It also intends to equip the students with the tools for improving their reading skills. In that sense, this is a kind of an induction class, inducting the students into the beautiful world of books. So, as I said, the title of the lecture is how to read a book. Now, this title itself is actually the title of a book by Mortimer Adler, How to Read a Book. So, but before we go to the how of reading, we will pause for a moment to deal with the why of reading. Now, as Nietzsche the philosopher once said about life, that if you have an answer to the why of life, the how of life will follow. Similarly, if we are convinced about the why of reading, if we are convinced why we should read, the how of reading will be easier, comparatively easier. So, let us first deal with the why of reading. Why do we read books? Now, these four reasons for reading they encapsulate the ideas that are in the book The Intellectual Life by Sertilanges. Now, in that book he talks about four reasons for reading. Number one, he talks about information. We read books for information. Books are a treasure house of facts, data. We know about names, places, dates, facts and figures from books. As Einstein once said, I never memorize what I can look up in a book. So, books give us facts, and that is one of the reasons for reading, information. Second, formation. We read books not just for information, we also read books for formation, that is self formation. Bildung is the German word for it. As we read, we become, we grow, we come of age. Reading enhances our knowledge, reading enhances our wisdom, reading enhances our capacity to make sense of the world around us. Reading expands our horizon. We get to know about the multiplicity, the variety, and the heterogeneity of the world. In that way, we learn to live. We learn to live together. We become more acceptant, more tolerant. That is how we grow. So, we form ourselves, we form our character, we form our personality. So, reading for formation, that is the second reason for reading according to Sertilanges. Then reading for recreation, that of course all of us will be familiar with. We do not always read for either information or formation. We read because we like, because we enjoy, we get joy out of reading. We read a short story or a novel because we enjoy it. We can connect to the story, we can connect to the characters. The bliss out of reading is what draws us towards reading, towards books. So, that is what is called reading for recreation. The final one is interesting and enlightening, reading for stimulation. So, one way of trying to make yourself a reader, a voracious reader, is by reading. Reading will take you to further reading. One book will take you to more books, just like the internet hyperlinks, you jump from one to the other. So, to develop the habit of reading, only way is to start reading. That will whet your appetite, that will push you towards more books. So, reading for stimulation, that is called stimulating reading. Now, after having got a fair idea of the why of reading, let us now go to the how, the central idea of the lecture, how to read. Mortimer Adler in his book How to Read a Book talks about four ways of reading. The first one of course is basic elementary reading, reading from the beginning to the end, A to Z. Second one is important for us, inspectional reading. So, we before going into the book proper, we inspect the book, we go around the book before getting into the book. How do we go around the book? We make a survey of the book that will condition us for the book, that will soften the book for us. how to make a survey. There are certain things which will help. The title will give us some idea, the subtitle will give us some idea, the blurb, the back cover of the book will give us some idea, then the content page will give us what the book is about. There will be a preface, foreword, introduction. All these will help us have a fair idea of the book, and all these will whet our appetite, encourage us to read the book with some idea, prior idea of what is there in the book. That kind of a reading is called inspectional reading. Then comes at number 3, analytical reading. Analyze. As you read, you analyze. This is the third stage of reading. What do you do is when you read, you actually also ask questions. There's kind of a communication going on. You question, you search for answers, you communicate with the author, communicate with the characters, you also write marginal notes maybe on the pages. That kind of a reading is called an analytical reading. Finally, we have what is called synoptical reading. Now, synoptical reading will come once you have a few books in your bag. That means you have already read a few books. When you read a new book, that book will recall other books. You will connect between books. You will also connect characters, connect ideas. Intertextuality will come. That kind of a reading is called synoptical reading. So, these are the 4 kinds of reading: elementary reading, inspectional reading, analytical reading, synoptical reading. Now, the same thing, the same question of how to read a book has been considered in a different way by Peter Berry in Beginning Theory, the book. In the introduction to the book, he takes a different approach. He uses a mnemonic to tell us how to read a book. The mnemonic is SQRRR or SQ3R. Now, these letters stand for certain things. First, S stands for survey. Now, surveying the book, that I did not explain because that is the same as inspectional reading. What Adler calls inspectional reading, Peter Berry says survey. Q is question. So, before you read the book, you have some idea of after the survey, you have some idea of the book. So, you know what to expect. You set certain questions in your mind. You expect to get those answers. So, question Q. After that you read the book, after reading that, the second R, that is very important, recalling. So, reading must always be followed by reflection. Only when you reflect, you actually get the most from the book. That is called recall. Finally, review. You make a review. What do you review? You match the questions that you set at the beginning with what you have actually got. Have you got the answers? What are the issues resolved through the book? That kind of an analysis is called a review. So, this is what Peter Berry says about reading, SQRRR. So, this was a lecture on how to read the book mainly, but we also dealt with why to read. This is, as I said, an introductory class, an induction class. There is an agenda to my class. My agenda is to encourage the students to read more and more, to develop readership, to make reading their passion, but with the tools to read cleverly, read smartly. So, with some people reading is a madness, but there is a method to the madness. This lecture caters to that method, to the madness. So, I hope this will help you in your reading sojourn, in your reading odyssey. I hope this will stand you in good stead. We hope to meet again in such virtual classes.